first time Jordan tried to leave his old life behind, it felt like someone had ripped the skin off his chest. Not because anyone hurt him physically, but because letting go of what was familiar, even what was destroying him, felt like losing a piece of himself. He sat in his truck that night, knuckles white against the steering wheel, parked outside the bar he had promised never to walk into again. The neon sign buzzed like it was calling his name, and every part of him wanted to give in. But he didn't know then what he knows now. Change hurts before it heals. Jordan Miller was 32, living in Ohio, working construction by day and drowning his nights in whiskey. On the outside, he looked like every other guy on the job site. Boots muddy, jeans torn, muscles built from carrying weight. But inside, he was carrying a different weight: regret. He had been an athlete once, quarterback in high school. People said he had a future. But one injury, one surgery, and one prescription bottle later, the future slipped. What started as painkillers turned into stronger escapes. By his late 20s, the bottle wasn't a crutch. It was a cage. His mother begged him to change. His younger sister cried when she saw him passed out. His friends shook their heads. But Jordan shrugged it all off with one line: "I'll quit when I'm ready." Only problem? Ready never came. One night, driving home buzzed, Jordan nearly ran a red light. Car screeched just in time. Inside that car was a young family. A mother, a father, a child asleep in the back seat. For days, Jordan couldn't shake the image. The father's terrified face, the mother's scream, the tiny hand resting against the window. That was the night something cracked inside him. Not because he felt noble, but because he realized his choices weren't just poisoning him. They were endangering others. And that kind of weight, the weight of nearly taking a life, was heavier than any barbell he had ever carried. The next morning, he poured every bottle down the sink. And then the real pain began. His body shook. His head throbbed. He couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't think straight. Every nerve screamed for the thing he had just given up. Friends said, "See, you don't look better. You look worse." And Jordan thought, maybe they're right. But in the middle of the storm, a counselor at a local recovery group told him something he never forgot. Pain isn't proof you're failing. Pain is proof you're changing. He explained it like this: muscles ache after a workout not because they're weak, but because they're growing. A seed breaks in the soil, it looks destroyed, but that breaking is what lets it bloom. Metal screams in the fire of the forge, but that's how it's reshaped into something stronger. Jordan clung to those images like a rope in a flood, because for the first time he understood the hurt wasn't the enemy. The hurt was the evidence. Recovery wasn't a straight line. At day 10, he punched a hole in his wall from the anger crawling under his skin. Day 14, he showed up at the bar parking lot and sat there for an hour before driving away. Day 21, he relapsed and woke up on the couch ashamed, the bottle empty beside him. The old voice whispered, "See, this is who you are. You can't change." But then he remembered the counselor's words, and he wrote them down on a scrap of paper. Pain is proof you're changing. By month 3, Jordan was still shaky but different. He had a sponsor. He went to meetings. He started jogging again, slow and clumsy, but moving. His sister noticed first. "You're laughing again," she said quietly one night, and Jordan realized she was right. It wasn't easy. It wasn't perfect. But he was healing. The pain hadn't disappeared, but now it was carving out space for something new. Change doesn't just rip out the bad. It also digs up what you buried. For Jordan, that meant facing the grief he had drowned for years, the injury that stole his dream, the loneliness of watching teammates succeed while he fell behind, the shame of what he had done to people he loved. He cried more in those months than he had in years, but each tear felt like salt on a wound that needed to close. It stung, but it was cleaning him. One evening, his sponsor asked him to share his story at a local group. Jordan froze. He wasn't a speaker. He was a broken man trying to rebuild. But he stood up anyway. His hands shook. His voice cracked. And he told the truth. "I thought change meant instant healing. But it doesn't. Change hurts first. It hurts like fire. But fire doesn't just burn, it also refines. And maybe what's hurting you right now is the very thing shaping you into who you need to be. When he sat down, strangers hugged him. His sister wept. His sponsor whispered, "That's healing." And maybe right here, let me ask you softly. If Jordan's story spoke to you, comment one word, "heal," below. Let that be your seed. Then keep listening because this story is about you too. By year 2, Jordan was sober. He was mentoring other men who thought they couldn't change. He was back on construction sites, but now he was also building lives. Every scar, every craving, every moment of pain became the material for something greater. The same man who once nearly destroyed lives was now saving them. Not because he was perfect, but because he let pain refine him instead of define him. Here's the truth Jordan's story reveals. Change will hurt you before it heals you. The growth feels like failure at first. Healing feels like tearing before it feels like mending. Transformation feels like breaking before it feels like freedom. Pain isn't always the enemy. Sometimes it's the evidence that your old self is dying and your new self is being born. So the question is not, does it hurt? The question is, what is this pain making possible? So maybe today you're staring at your own storm. Maybe it's addiction. Maybe it's failure. Maybe it's heartbreak or loss. It hurts. It feels unbearable. But maybe, just maybe, the pain you feel is not the end. It's the sound of something new being born. Because the day Jordan stopped running back to comfort and started walking through the pain was the day his healing began. And maybe it's your day too. If the story spoke to you, comment "heal" below. Let's see how many of us are ready to begin. Hit like, subscribe for a new motivational story every day, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Together, we're building more than stories. We're building lives.